my miracle. I'm here this week with my friend Quinard, who we have known each other now for a little while. This is a return visit for Quinard, and we had a great week together. And each week, out of the field of miracles that occur here every week, people merging together with their soul, releasing that which doesn't belong to them, stepping forward into a future that is of their own making, in real freedom, in real sovereignty. And so each week we pick one person to kind of exemplify what happened this week. And as I was facilitating classes this week and just talking to my brother over here, it occurred to me yesterday that this might be a great interview. So I'm super grateful that you're here, man. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for asking.
My pleasure. So, Quinard, where are you from?
I'm originally from San Diego.
And where do you live now?
I live in Temecula. I went out there to take care of my mother, who was elderly, and I quit my job to do
What was your job?
that. I was in the military for 21 years as a power generator specialist, and then I switched over because it got boring because I knew how to fix everything easily, and then I became a satellite technician and ran most of the satellite communication facilities for the Army. And then I retired because they wanted to send me back over to Afghanistan. And then I started doing project management and logistics for the military. And then my mother got sick after my stepdad had passed, and I felt somebody needed to be there. She shouldn't be by herself. She's 92 today.
Today
As of the 27th, as of yesterday.
is yesterday. Wow.
Yes. So I've been taking care of her since 2018, and
That's a lot.
that is a lot. Mentally is really a lot on one person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so 2018. When did you first come to Rhythmia?
I first came to Rythmia back in May of 2025.
May of 2025. That was your first time.
That was my first time.
And you said you had an illness and you couldn't complete the week.
I caught pneumonia really bad. They said that when I purged one time, I guess somehow it got into my lungs, and it laid me out for up until the time I left.
And then you came, but you because you didn't get to complete the week, you wanted to come back.
Oh yeah, yeah. I definitely wanted to come back because I wanted the experience. I wanted to find out more about me and all the things that had been happening with me that were kind of strange to me happening in my life, and it seemed like a pattern. I wanted to find out what it was all about.
Okay, so you came back, and did you see that pattern?
Yes, I started to see that pattern, and it's been a very good eye opener for me and made me feel better about myself.
What was the pattern that you saw?
Uh, okay. One thing I realized is that when I was very young, like 4 years old, it started when I was taking out the trash one day. Told me to take out the trash. Went around the building with the trash can and everything, and then all of a sudden I seen a snake on the ground near the trash can. The snake saw me. I saw it, and I turned around and ran that way, and the snake took off the opposite direction towards the street and everything. And then when I got around front to tell somebody, I saw somebody with the snake in a pitchfork, and they put him in the street and they ran over him multiple times. And I felt guilty because I felt if it wasn't for me, a snake wouldn't have had to end his life like that.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's pretty much stayed with me. And then, like 2 years later, I had a friend die from polio. That was our close friend who lived next door to us. And I asked my mother, why did he have to die? She said, because God said it was time for him to go back to heaven. And that didn't quite sit with me.
How old were you then?
I was I was 5 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, and it just those kind of things kept on happening throughout my life, and I always want to find out more because that just started me on my quest to find out more. And I thought there was more to life than just as they tell us it is.
And that that moment with the snake, right? And that
Yes,
guilt that you felt like if it wasn't for me, that was a hard moment for you as
yes.
a kid. And then what did you see years later when you came to Rhythmia? How that created what did it create in your life?
what it created was the fact that I became this person that always tried to help somebody, regardless if I had to suffer or give up whatever I had to make them happy or please them, or if I seen them in a particular situation, I would go out my way to help them, and neglecting myself a lot of times.
And what shifted for you? Like what? How did your life change once you had that realization? Because
Uh,
you're still a nice person. You still do stuff for people, right?
yeah, but what's happening now since I come to Rhythmia, it made me see that people have to go through their own experiences, and you can't save everybody. Sometimes it's set up, the world is set up, and God sets it up so that you got to experience things for yourself, and we're not supposed to always take that suffering from them. And most of the people I've done that with, I don't expect nothing in return, but they just kind of vanish, you know. And it's like whatever they can get from me, that's what they got, and they're happy and they go on with their business. And I'm just like left here, so I don't really want money or anything. I just the friendship or whatever, just say thank you, and it never really happens a lot.
But something shifted when you realized I don't have to save everybody, and that actually some people are on their own path.
Yes.
And I think what else I got from that,
Hmm.
if it resonates with you, is that your worth and value isn't dependent on giving and making sure that people are okay, right?
Exactly, and that's what happened with the snake. Everybody has their own destiny, and I didn't realize as a kid, but that kind of stayed with me.
Right, like you thought you were responsible,
Yes, I felt I was responsible.
and then that like, and it's so funny because we a lot of times people think trauma,
Hmm.
oh, that's not trauma.
Yeah,
Trauma is like I got beat or I was abandoned or my dad was an alcoholic or, but actually it's all the same,
it is all the same.
right? When that little kid took on the guilt that I am responsible for what happens in the world,
Exactly.
and I'm bad.
Hmm.
Otherwise, if I don't fix stuff, it's my fault.
Exactly. And that's another thing. When my friend died when I was 5 years old, I said, man, that means my mother and dad could die any moment. So at 7 years old, and after that, I started getting telescopes. And when everybody was playing with the little Tonka toys and plastic soldiers and everything, I got chemistry sets because I said, I'm not going to let that happen to my parents. And I took on that responsibility at that young age.
Wow. Now you shared with me earlier like what your miracle was after that first time.
Ah, yeah. The first time taking the ayahuasca, I was laying there and it came to me and it said, okay, we're ready for you. It didn't say we're ready for you, but it came to me and I said, how do I know if you're the true ayahuasca or it's not ADD, all these other voices in my head? So it said, okay, I'll show you. And then all of a sudden, this big dark feature came to me and it was like really scary and everything. But I remember what you guys said. Don't run away from it, run towards it. And when I did that, everything just opened up. And then that's when ayahuasca said to me, now I want you to open up your heart and put your hands to the side. And then, as soon as it said that, and mind you, this is all in my, I guess in my head, as soon as I said that, you guys were playing heartbeat music in the background at the very same time that happened. And I said, wow. And then all of a sudden I found myself in this place with these big old giant globes, like planets that were transparent, light blue, light green, and they were like little rivers of light blue and light green just circulating around. And they were transparent and they were very bright, as far as you could see, in front of you, back you, up and down. And I was just like, this is so beautiful. I never want to leave there. It felt like I'd been in there for almost 3 to 4 hours. Then all of a sudden, I guess I came out of it and I looked down and I realized I came out of my body. And that was like, wow. And then, like Mother Ayahuasca told me, the voice said that this is you. We are, you are the universe. Because I was always fascinated by the stars and the planets when I was very young, looking at the stars all the time. And it said, you have you are the universe. Just as like they say, as above, so below. I am. The universe is in me, and as well as I am part of the universe. And it was just that was an eye opener right there. And it said that you're beautiful regardless of what anybody says or talks about you. You are a beautiful person. So don't worry about any of that other stuff and what you're doing. Be confident in what you're doing.
Whoa, what a beautiful message.
Yeah, that was deep. That was really, really deep.
How did that change your life when you went home?
It changed my life to the point where I was always I'll be around people and they always criticizing me for what I did and how I thought and everything like that. After a point, I just said, I'm not going to pay attention to them because they live in their own world. I'm living in mine. I'm going to be happy with who I am, regardless, because they don't know who I am or what I've been through in my life and what I experienced. And this right here with the ayahuasca just helped me just realize that we're more than what we actually believe we are and what people tell us or make us believe we are, because you're going to find a lot of people, they're not going to agree with you, so they get a negative opinion about you and everything. And I always prove a lot of people wrong that that I always rise above everything they say. Just like I didn't realize I had ADD until after I was like 38 years old, and they said that yeah man, your ADD is so bad, you should have been like most of the people with ADD that you have are on the street on drugs and everything else. I said, no. When they flunked me in the second grade, I made up my mind that I wasn't going to go there. I'm going to learn everything I needed. And I told them what I did in second grade when they flunked me, because that put me in the same grade with my brother. And they always made him feel seem like he was older than me. That's a negative thing that made me feel like I did throughout my life. But I said, when I flunked the second grade, the next days in class, next time in class, I said, I'm going to sit up front and I'm going to ask the teacher questions until she make me understand. I'm going to continue to ask her questions. And
Wow.
the psychologist said, that's some of the psychology that we use today to tell people to tell their kids. I said, yeah, I was.
That's so great.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So that was really beautiful. But the most beautiful thing is this idea that you just shared, that I'm part of the universe. I'm beautiful just as I am, and I'm free from the opinions and thoughts of others.
Yes,
That's really powerful.
that is, and that right there just that was an awakening, and that just led to the other awakening I had just recently on the ayahuasca.
And what was this? What was the other awakening?
The other awakening was when I was on the ayahuasca with the shaman. He was waving his uh, feathers on me and everything, and at first it was kind of like I thought it was a little bit irritating. I said, "Just go with it, Queen." And I closed my eyes, and then all of a sudden I was in this place. It wasn't scary or anything like that, but it was like gray and kind of dark, but light at the same time. And the voice came to me and said, "I'm your soul." Because I always wanted to know the difference between my soul and spirit, because we always interchanged them. And it says, no, we're different. And I'm your soul, and I'm in that dark thing that I see. I was under my skin, and it was no bones or nothing like that. And it was just me in that space right there, but it was quiet and it was comfortable. And it said, I'm your soul. And that's the difference between our soul and our spirit, because it said the spirit is the one that energized me. And I was just like, wow, that's deep. And it made me feel so comfortable. And then when we did the breath work the next day, I went there again. I said, and it just like I saw like reminded me, remember, I'm here with you all the time. And that was so deep right there. I am I can't wait to go back there again. Seriously.
It feels like you can get there now on your own.
Yes, all I gotta do is get into that meditative state and just clear everything else out of my head about everybody. I'm thinking about everything and just get there, and I'm sitting there with
With your soul.
my soul. Yes,
Which is what we talk about, right? Is the merger.
exactly.
Merging with your soul, merging back to this state of wholeness.
And that's one of the things I asked for. I said I want to merge with my soul and my spirit, because I want to get to know it. And then I realized that all them experiences that I had, they are in the other realm. They're like less than that right there, that amount of time.
Right.
And we're thinking of them that they're really it's a lot of time passes, and we got all these years behind us.
It's nothing.
It's nothing. It's nothing, and I don't fear a whole lot anymore.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
If there's anything else that you want to share with anybody about your experience at Rhythmia, or anything that you want to say about Rhythmia or your experience?
Rythmia just helped me realize, like I said, I've been on a journey. It's all, and I'm one of those type with my, I guess my ADD. I connect the dots. And one time when I was right after high school, working in LA and everything, and I had lost my job, I was staying with a brother. I was laying on his floor in his bedroom, this one room, and then all of a sudden the closet door opened up, and this dark spirit seemed to come out and was coming after me. And I wanted to scream, but I couldn't scream. I wanted to get up and run, but I couldn't get up and run. And then all of a sudden, I just started getting mad, and I started getting madder and madder. I said, finally came out and said, "Get out!" And everything just quieted down. And that right there led me to when I was in the army. I we were over in Afghanistan. After I got out the army, but they sent me to Afghanistan anyway. I was there, and we were being bombed regularly. And I had one of my cousins was there prior to, and a lot of them went to PTSD because they were afraid because of the bombing and everything like that. And then after the second time, the alarm went off. I said, I'm not going nowhere. I'm gonna stay in my bed because I could die. I could get hit by the bomb, walk, running to the shelter and everything, and I'm gonna stay in my bed and I'm gonna go to sleep. And if I die, at least I'll be sleeping when I die. And I don't fear that kind of stuff anymore like that. And that helps me a lot. And that's kind of all tied to this with the ayahuasca and everything. Now I connected with my soul, and that's what my soul was protecting me. And uh, oh, last experience, I had so many, but the other experience was when I was driving my daughter to go see my dad. Well, my dad, a voice came to me at one night, and I said, I asked my wife, "Did you say something?" She said, "No." And then the voice, because the voice told me, "Your dad is dying." So I picked up the phone, called my brother down in Mississippi, and he said that he was in a panic. He was said, "Dad fell out the bed. He's on the floor, and I can't wake him up." And he's pulling on his clothes. And I said, "Give me the number to the hospital." And I called the hospital. They said, "Bring him in immediately. He's he's having a reaction to a medication he's taking." I got on a plane the next day. He died 10 minutes after I got there.
Wow.
Yeah, and and then
So you've always been connected, is what you're
yes,
saying, and
yeah,
the ayahuasca helped you reconnect and
and verify.
realize this is true,
Yes, this is true. Yeah,
and you are connected.
I am connected, and that's what happened when I took my daughter. We were driving to go see my dad before we knew that had died, and we were going through from Colorado to Mississippi, and we were driving across this bridge down there. And then all of a sudden, my car started going in circles, hit ice, black ice, and it started going in circles back and forth across this two-lane highway, and it was a bridge way about 1,000 feet up, and just a little barrier about no more than about 3 feet tall. And we were going back. I looked at my daughter. She was asleep. She was only 2 years old. I said, "Ah, thank God, thank you that she's asleep. She won't have to go through this." And as soon as I said that, I turned around. I heard a voice in my head say, "Take your hands off your steering wheel. Take your foot off the gas and take your foot off the brake." And then my car just went straight. And these guys came from behind me. Said they seen what happened, and they were amazed. They said, "Are you okay? You need to go call the police or anybody like that, so that we can need help." And I said, "No, I just want to sit here for a while." And I thought of my dad, and I said, "No, I'm gonna keep on driving and go there." But those kind of things kept on happening to me.
You know what we did in class yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things we did was to create a mantra that helps you remember you're connected and you're safe and you're powerful and you're worthy.
Right.
And that was your mantra.
Yes.
That's what came out was, take your hands off the wheel, take your foot off the brake.
And that right there,
everything's gonna be okay.
And that coming to the class is what brought that up. When I got off the ayahuasca, it brought that up, made me remember that, and I said, "Wow, that's pretty deep." I didn't think about it at the time.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Not a problem.
Thank you so much for sharing. Appreciate you. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you come back and see us again next week. I hope you come see us at Rhythmia. It'll be nice, right?
It's a life changing experience, a positive one.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Thank you all. Have a great day.